Hey everyone, Jolt here. Today's video is going to be extremely technical, so if that's not your thing, then I don't think this video is going to be enjoyable for you. If, however, you're interested in automating templator, Excalidraw Automate, accessing the OpenAI API and accessing ChatGPT and DALL-E, and integrating all of this into a daily notes template that will generate an image for a quote from the stoicquotes.com, then you're in the right place. I haven't really prepared for this video. Of course, as I was driving home from work, I was thinking about how I would do this, but you're going to see me in the process of creating this new feature. Let me show you what the feature I want to create is through a manual exercise. So I have a quote here on the stoicquotes.com, and what I want to do is I want to come to Excalidraw. And by the way, why am I doing all of this? I'm doing this because in cohort 7 of the visual thinking workshop, we're reading the Practicing Stoic, and I thought it would be a nice touch that every day in my daily notes page I get an image and a Stoic quote, so it helps me get in the mood and understand the Stoics better. But what I want to do right now is I want to open my Scratchpad. So the Scratchpad is this Excalidraw drawing in my Obsidian Vault that I use for temporary stuff, and then I always empty the Scratchpad. Now what I want to do here is I want to use Excalidraw to generate an image for a quote. So I have this system prompt. You can see I have all sorts of system prompts here, but I have generate an image to illustrate a quote, and I'm going to just paste this quote from Seneca here like that, and I'm going to hit run. So what's happening in the background, it takes a small bit of time to complete. First, I send my quote with some instructions to ChatGPT. ChatGPT generates an image prompt. I then take that image prompt and send it to DALL-E, and then DALL-E generates an image, and then I download that image and display it here in Excalidraw, and typically it takes about 30 seconds. And here's the image that was generated. Now what you can see here is at the bottom of the image, now this is what Excalidraw does. It prints the image prompt that was generated by ChatGPT using the quote. I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to instead paste this quote from Seneca here, and I'm actually going to wrap this text so it fits better. So the greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today. So I can see all the good things tomorrow. So I guess that says tomorrow. It's not perfectly spelled, but I have all sorts of things tomorrow, and here's my loss today. I guess that's why it's dark, and that's why it's bright and colorful, and then there's this balance. Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting image. I'm not super impressed with the image, but anyway, from the process, the implementation, I think we will see some other images as we experiment and see if the whole idea really is meaningful. But let's get started. I'm going to create a brand new empty vault for this because I thought it's just cleaner if I do it really from the bottom up in a new vault. So I'm going to create a new vault. I'm going to browse to my Obsidian folder, and I'm going to name this the daily quote demo vault, and I'm going to create this new vault. So I have a new vault here. I'm going to enable plugins, and I'm going to install 2 plugins. The first plugin I'm going to install is Excalidraw, because we need to use this to generate images, etc. And the second plugin I want to install is Templator. And these are the only 2 plugins that we are going to be using. So now I have Templator installed as well. And then we need to do some basic settings. So I'm going to come to settings here, and here I have my daily notes. But first I think I need to come to Templator, and let's create a folder for my templates. So these are going to be my templates, like that. And I'm actually going to create here a new note, and this is going to be my daily note page template. So this is just going to be a small thing. I don't like the readable line length. I like when the page is the full length. Otherwise, I'm just going to leave all of this like this. And here in Templator, I'm going to set my templates folder, and I'm going to enable trigger Templator on new file creation. So I need this because when a new daily note is created, I want Templator to be triggered. And in the daily notes core plugin, I'm going to set up my template file location to be Templator daily notes template, and I can also create a folder here, so this is good. And I'm going to create a separate folder for my daily notes, so it's neatly stored in a folder. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to set this up to be daily notes, and I think for the time being, we are happy with all of this. So now let's get started with some of the basics. The first thing I want to do is I want to open Excalidraw, and I want to install the Excalidraw script, because we are going to be stealing some code from Excalidraw. So now that's installed, that's great. And I think the first thing we need to do is we need to go to this website and find out how to access the API for this website. I know this has an API, so that was part of the reason I thought let's do this video, because I read about, or I found this site and accidentally found out the API. But let me show you how I would look for it. So you can see here the Stoic Quotes API. I search for this, and here I clicked on the first result, and within here I scroll down, and I was happy to find this right here, https:/stoicquotes.com/API/quote. So let's try what happens when I type this in here, and voila, I'm super happy because I get this string back, which is actually a JSON with a text and an author. So I'm very happy with what the API presents me with. So the first experiment we're going to be doing, and so let's just get started. We're going to build this small step at a time. And the way I build anything is always with the developer console on the side. So here I have my developer console, and Obsidian has a request command. So if I type in request, then you can see it's right here. This issues a GET request where I can get data from the internet. I need to await this, so I'm just going to write this result equals await. So await means that this is an asynchronous function, and I need to wait until the result is received. And the way it works is all I need to do is I need to provide the URL like this, and it can take other parameters as well, but for the time being this is enough. You can read about this if you Google it, but for the time being this is all I want. Now I can see that this is the result, and the result is a string. So probably what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take my result string and create a result JSON. So I'm going to use the JSON object, and I'm going to parse the string I received. Typically, by the way, results are, they can be different. So you need to take a look at what the result from the given API is. Often the result is an actual JSON. In this case, I got this JSON string, but no worries, because with JSON parse, I was able to process this into a JSON, and I have an author and a text. So let's first create a super simple automation here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create this templater script like this. So you need to place the script or the code in these brackets, and let's get started. So what I want to do is, first of all, I want to run this script like this. So I'm going to call this quote string, and this can be a constant. I can make this slightly smaller. So the first step is to get our quote string. The second step is to get our quote JSON, which is going to be JSON parse quote string. And then what I want to do is I want to first of all create my Excalidraw automate object. So this is going to be this can also be a constant, EA equals Excalidraw automate, like that. So we can test it right here. So if I type here EA equals Excalidraw automate, then I get an Excalidraw automate object. Now, when I use Excalidraw automate like this, I need to type EA reset, because this is this object is used across the board, and you might have half-finished processes in here. So I want to clean up Excalidraw automate, and then what I want to do is I want to create a rectangle for myself with this text in there. So actually I have a piece of text. I'm going to copy this here because I already have this ready, but let me just bring this over here and then explain to you what I'm doing. So first of all, I'm also going to EA style background color should be transparent. So I'm setting the style of the next Excalidraw element's background to transparent. By default, the text color is black. I'm generating an ID for the text element, and then I'm adding this new text element. And here I still need to do one thing. I need to, from the quote, I need to get the text and the author. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to text and author, take this from the quote JSON. So this is what's happening. Let me show you here. Let text author equals result JSON. And now, of course, the text has the text and author has the author. So I'm getting this from quote JSON. I'm setting the background color, I'm generating a text element ID. I do this so I actually don't even need to do this anyway. I don't need to do that, so I only need to create a new rectangle, and I'm going to add text in a way that I'm adding this to, now we can add it for now to 00, and it's actually not quote, but it's text and it's author. I'm going to link the video that I'm using here. So I have this video about the daily quote mind mapping, and I'm using that script here on the side to copy this part of the code over. So that's what I have here on the side, but I think that's for now not so critical. And let's just see. So maybe let's format it like this. And I can pass, let me just show you how I know all of this. If I type in EA add text, then you see all of this help text here. By the way, I can type here EA help, and I can type here add text like this and press enter, and then I have the help printed on the side, and I can use that. And you can see that here I can pass a formatting object, and these are the elements of formatting. I want to wrap this at probably, this can be a little wider because I'm going to have a 1024 by 1024 sized image here. But anyway, so I want this to have a default padding of 10, and I think with this we are actually good. And then what I need to do is I need to get my rectangle element. So I'm going to get EA get element, and I'm going to pass in the rectangle ID. And what I want to do is I want to set the rectangle element stroke color to be transparent. So what I'm doing here is I'm simply creating a text element that's placed in a rectangle, so sort of a sticky note. But you know, if I create a sticky note like this, then it has a border color, and I want to get rid of the border color but keep the text with the color. That's why what I'm doing here is if I create, and it's explained here, so if box is not null, then text will be boxed. The function returns the ID of the text element. If the text element is boxed, i.e. it is a sticky note, then the ID of the container object is returned. So that's why I'm using this to get the rectangle, and then I can set this to transparent. And then all I need to do is I need to create the Excalidraw file from this, and I want to open this on the side. So what I'm going to do is EA create, and let's just put the help here. So this is going to be EA help, EA create, like that. So I can read all the help I need. So we're going to start off with my parameters. The first parameter I'm going to give is the file name. So this is going to be file name. I'm actually going to copy this from here. So let me just paste it in here like this and format it, because we need to do a couple of things here still, but let me explain to you what's happening here. So I'm calling EA create. I'm taking the, and it's actually text and not quote. I'm taking the text element and I'm doing this regular expression replace to take all the characters that are not allowed in a file name out of the text. And then I'm taking the first 25 characters of this text and adding ... So in a way, what I'm doing is I'm titling my drawing with the beginning of the quote. So in the example that we looked at, so in this example, this would be the greatest obstacle ... or something like that. So it's, the file name is going to be a nice descriptive file name. So that's what I'm doing here. And then I have the folder here. So what we are going to do is I'm going to place this in the TP file folder, and this should be, I think, now I wonder if I think this should be false. So this shouldn't be relative, but this should be an absolute folder in the vault. And I'm not sure if we need a template path. So I'm going to leave this empty. Actually, I'm going to leave this undefined. We'll see what happens. I want to open this in a, oh, this is actually an object, so I don't need to write undefined. I'm going to open this in a new pane, and I'm going to add a plain text content. So the plain text is, if I switch this over to Markdown view mode, so open as Excalidraw, the plain text that I'm adding will come above text elements here. So I can add some metadata there, and the metadata I'm going to add is the author, and then followed by the text and followed by a block reference to the quote. So this is the text I'm adding right there. And I think we're good. Let's see what happens when I create a new daily note. So let's press daily note, and I get an error. So that's already, okay, so that's not very helpful. Let's come back here. Excalidraw automate is Excalidraw automate. Okay, probably I need to write then window.excalidraw automate. Let's try again. So I'm going to, but now I have my daily note, so I first need to delete this daily note. And now let's again create today's daily note. And again, I get the error Excalidraw automate. So did I misspell that? Let's just copy paste it from here. And let's see. Oh, because I corrected it in the wrong place, because this was the template file that I deleted, but I need to correct it here. So, and I misspelled it. So you can see now that I pasted it, I had a spelling issue with Excalidraw automate. So now again, let's run. I again have, but text ID is not defined. Why? Oh, because I decided I don't need a text ID. Great, then let's just delete, again, wrong file. So I need to, you see, I know it's a wrong file because the file name is today's date, because this is the daily note template that was created, but I need to, or the daily note that was created, but I need to always edit my daily note template. So let's remove the text ID from here. Like this, and again let's run. Yay! So we already have a nicely working solution. So here I've created this image. Now I want to insert it into my daily note, so that's still missing from here, but that's actually a super simple step. So let's delete this and let's delete our daily note like that. I'm going to close this tab. So we need to end our script with tr plus equal, and I want to add this, that I want to transclude the file path like this. So what I'm doing here is, you can see EA create returns the file path, and I want to add it. So tr plus in templater, if you add a value to this, that is going to be then printed on the page. So probably I want to add a new line character at the end. Let's test again. Yay! It's all perfect. So we have our quote here. Now all I need to do is place the generated image on top. So again, let's delete this like that. Let's delete this as well like this. Let's close this. And so for that, we are now going to cheat, or actually not cheat, but be clever about it. I'm going to open my script for Excalidraw, and this is a pretty long script. I also need to reacquaint myself with it, but of course I have a huge advantage here because I wrote the script, so this is more or less familiar to me. But let's just do this. I'm going to do one thing that I'm going to cut from the video. I'm going to add to Excalidraw settings my API key, my OpenAI API key, so I can test it. So that's something that you need to understand about using Excalidraw, that you need an OpenAI API key. And there are a couple of things that you need to set up with that key. So you need to put $5 on that API key for it to access DALL-E, as well as you need to wait about 10-15 minutes after you add the $5, and then it will work. And one image generation based on my experiment, but we can actually take a look at this. So let's go to openai.com. Let's log in and let's continue like this, and let's open the API, and here I want to click on usage, and you will see that today we generated 2 images, and that cost 8 cents in total. So this means that in total a daily note is going to cost about 4 cents, which is a bit over $1 per month for this convenience, which I think is not bad. But so I'm going to now set up my API key. So let me just take this off screen here and do that. I'm going to cut them for now. I'm going to close this on the side and rather bring Excalidraw to the side and have the other part of my script here. So what we're going to do is we're going to add our new part of code right here, and I'm going to hard code it, but of course later on you can clean this up yourself. But so the way this works is I have instructions, and I think return a single message with the generate in a code block. That's what we need. So I have an instruction, and I'm going to just create these that I'm going to for now, constant instruction equals, and we're going to I'm going to place this to the beginning of the code. So if you want to modify the instructions. There's lots of ideas I have here as well, so we can iterate this later on, but for now I'm going to create my instruction. Then let's look at the system prompts, and in system prompts I want to choose illustrate this quote. So this is going to be my system prompt like this, and it is the gen image type, right? Yes, it's the image generation. So this is going to be my constant for system prompt equals, okay, system prompt equals, this is going to be my prompt, so you can read it. This is going to be the instruction I sent to ChatGPT. Your task involves transforming a user-provided code into a detailed imaginative illustration. Craft a visual representation that captures the essence of the code and resonates well with a broad audience. If the author's name is provided, aim to establish a connection between the illustration and the author. Maybe we can take this off because now all of these authors are going to be from the ancient times, so I think maybe it's better if we take that off. This can be the situation, and then so I think additionally provide preference for styling, such as chosen artistic to guide the image and ensure that the resulting text-free. Your task output should comprise a descriptive and detailed narrative aimed at facilitating the creation of a captivating illustration for the quote. So that's our system prompt. And now let's move on here. We have all sorts of, so this is how I get my OpenAI key, and I have my error handling here as well. So I'm just going to add this. I'm not going to, well, I can actually return, so that's good. So if the API key is not set, which I already set, then I will get this message. That's great. And let's just set image sizes. So we're going to go for this this image size, so I'm just going to bring that over here. Image size equals, so this is if you come to the OpenAI API and we come here to yeah, here's how to use it, and then it talks about this, that DALL-E images can have sizes of 1024 by 1024, and then these other sizes, but that's all I'm going to use. If you want, here's image generation. So under capabilities, image generation usage, this is where you see some help about the prompting, but in this case we are going to be using my existing Excalidraw script. And this has lots of stuff we don't need at this time, but I want to get down here to run. I have a function here, run. Great. And so let's just type system prompt with the same font size so I can easily copy paste stuff. And this is going to be not an image edit request, but this is going to be an image generation request. So this is what I need. Let's come here and let's do this. So I'm going to create a request object. So Excalidraw Automate has a function you can see here, post OpenAI, that requires a request object. If you want to find out about the request object, of course, EA help, EA post OpenAI, and you get this description help that you can use. I'm not going to use it now because I'm going to be stealing stuff from here. So let's just see. So this is going to be our system prompt, and this is going to be our instruction, and I need to copy this over here. So our request object, we don't have an image data URL because I'm not submitting an image, and I actually have a text. So I'm just going to be submitting the text like this, because here here I'm deconstructing the text. So I have my text. I actually probably want to do this, that I want the text to include the author name as well. So what I'm going to write here is, this should be the text, and then in a new line I want to include the author like this. So this is going to be the text that I'm submitting. This is my system prompt here. System prompt instruction. I'm just checking spelling because that's usually what trips me up. So this is great. Maybe I'm going to move the image size up here, because that's really a setting that you might decide to have a different image size. So I'm just putting it up there. So this, and let's just add some comments here as well. So get quote from Stoic Quotes like this. And effectively we might even want to say that I mean, we should really do if not text. We could even raise an error message, but for now I'm just going to return. So if there's some hiccup here, but of course already parse JSON is likely going to throw an error for me, so anyway we won't get here. And I'm actually going to move this down to here, and I'm going to add another comment here, and I'm going to write generate image like that, and then here I'm going to write generate Excalidraw drawing like this. All right, so let's continue. So I have my request object. Now let's get our result back. So this is going to be the result that I get from OpenAI. We don't really need this console log, but this could be helpful to print out what I got back from OpenAI, and if the OpenAI result had the JSON parameter. This I don't need because this is the spinner waiting for the spinner to finish. I don't need that. This is not an image edit request. So here, this is an error handling that if in the end the returned, well, because I'm pressing tab. Anyway, if the resulting JSON does not have a choices property, then it means something went wrong. So then I'm going to create a new notice. This is an Obsidian function, and I'm just going to print out the error message like this, and I'm going to abort, meaning I'm going to return like that. So this is copied over, and here I'm going to extract the code block. So there's an Excalidraw automate function. Again, you can use help to find this. find out about this, but what this does is this will look for the code block in the resulting in the result set and return it. So that's why here in the instruction I instruct the ChatGPT to return the result in a code block. A code block is these, so this is a code block right here. This is how it would look. So I'm using that, extract the code block and data, that's great. And then if I don't have a content, then I need to, so these are the two things, because this is going to be an image generation request, so we will need to look at the code. But again, if there's no content, then we are going to just return at this point. So if there's no content, then I'm going to return like this. So I'm going to leave off that part. And now I'm sending the content and the bounding box, but that's not really necessary for us. I have this generate image function up here. So let's come here and find generate image. And you know what? I'm going to just simply copy the whole function over. So I'm stealing this from Excalidraw, and I'm going to place it right here like this. And let's just tab this in. So I'm selecting this and tab it in. Great. And now here I'm not going to send in the spinner ID and the bounding box. So I have the image size variable already, but not correctly spelled. So image size with a capital S. So let's just see. So generate image. I'm creating a new request object, which is going to have image generation properties. I'm not sending in the quality data because DALL-E 3 does not support it. I'm again submitting to OpenAI this new request object, and I'm going to wait for the result. And here, if I get a result, then I'm going to, and this is what we are not going to be doing, I'm going to be returning the image. So this is just simply going to return the JSON data URL like this. And I don't need the revised prompt. I don't want to type it under there, so I just want the image URL. I think that's actually, and I don't want to add the image here. I'm going to do that in a second. Add to group. Do I have a create add image? So maybe this is, but this is pretty straightforward. So I'm going to delete most of this function. So, and now I'm going to write here image URL equals await generate image, and I'm going to pass the content like this. Okay, so what we are doing here is I copied this function over from Excalidraw. I trimmed it for my purposes. All this does is it sends the content, which is the output of the first call to ChatGPT, and content includes the image prompt. it will send that image prompt to Dolly, and this function is going to return an image URL. And I can actually close this here. And now all we need to do is we need to place this image URL. I now have my image URL here, generate image content. That's great. And so here, what I want to do is I actually want to start by adding EA add image, and I'm going to image file scale number. I think this description is not up to date because actually it can be also a URL to the image, which I need to update this description because that's what we saw in Excalidraw. So maybe let's again open Excalidraw script on the side so we can take a look. So here's the add image, and I'm adding the URL there, not the file. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to add the image to 00 and image URL. Now, of course, if something goes wrong, I want to catch it here. So I'm going to write here, if not image URL. So if it's just an undefined return, then I'm going to return now without any error messages, but hopefully that's not going to happen. And so here's my image URL. And what I need to do is I need to place the text element not to 00, but I actually want to place the text element to maybe the top of the text element. So this is, let's just see, EA add rectangle XY. So I want to place this to, and now I don't know if it's, I think it's, I want to place this to -1100. We'll see if this is the right place, but the image is 1024 high, so I think this should be roughly under the image. I think we're ready to test it out. So let's see what happens if I press my daily note. Keep fingers crossed. I have a feeling it's not going to work, but you never know, we might get lucky. We didn't get lucky, but let's see the error. So there's an error that cannot access EA before definition. So where am I accessing EA? Oh, because this is how I'm getting to EA, but this is where I'm defining EA down here. So that's an easy error. I like these type of errors because this is easy to correct. I was afraid that there's something more complicated. Oh, the only more complicated is that I'm correcting the error in the wrong file. So I'm going to place that here, and I'm going to delete it from here. So again, keep fingers crossed. Now, mind you, now I'm not giving any feedback. And you know, when we tested this process, it took about 30 seconds to generate. So I think that 30 seconds is going to be required now as well. So for the time being, no response because we didn't get an error. Actually, we got in console log. So there is an issue here because there is no image for sure. I don't see it. Oh, I know why we don't have an image. That's clear. But you can see here that I actually did get a proper result. So here's the JSON, the data, create detail illustration, status. So here's the URL. This is the image that was created. So let's copy the, and then we'll correct the issue. So I know what's the problem, but let's look at the image that was generated. I'm super curious. So this was the image that was generated. And by the way, you can see why this whole thing is slow, because it just takes this much time to download. But if I come here, when a man is proud because he can understand and explain the writing of Crispus, say to yourself, if Crispus had not written obscurely, this man would have nothing to be proud of. I like the illustration. Anyway, so the problem is that, and let me show you, so EA help, EA add image, and this is going to tell me that this is an asynchronous function. So I need to wait for the image to be downloaded before I can do anything with it. So let's just do this correction. So here I need to await add image, and that was the issue why that image was not generated there. So I think now if I delete this file, and I also want to delete, okay, we don't have that, I already deleted the daily note. So now if I generate again, then it's going to take its time. In the meantime, we can look at the result JSON. So that's already here, and here we can actually read the under choices. This is the, so you can see, and there's the image as well. Now the positioning is not good because minus, okay, so there are a couple of issues here. I should have resized the image to be, so if I press 100%, then the image would be larger, and it's not minus but plus, and actually this text could be larger. So maybe if we would change a different font size, and I can even let this to be wider. Okay, it's not that bad. So we need to do a couple of things, but you see it's getting there. So I get my text, I get my image there, and we can work with this. So let's delete. Now there's one more thing that we need to experiment with, and maybe let's do that. So when you use Excalidraw, you get a message that this file here is now referenced with a URL, and that URL points to the OpenAI's website. The issue with this is that this image is going to be deleted in about 30 minutes. So I need to download this image and save it locally. So we will need to do that, and I'm actually going to result equals request await request, and here I'm going to type in my URL, and my URL is going to be this OpenAI image. Let's see what happens if I execute this. What sort of result am I going to get? So I'm using, great. So this is awesome because I got a binary PNG back. I'm super happy with this because I can take this and I can use app vault create create binary, and I'm going to give this a file name, and the file name is going to be test.png, and I'm just going to add a result like this, I think. Yay, and I think the file was created. So let's just see. I have a test.png, but the image is not a good image. So let's look at result, and why isn't this working? So let's look for some help. So let's come here and let's say Obsidian MD API. Create binary. Path data. And I need an array buffer. I think it is likely an array buffer. Let's see. But no, this is not. So let's do this. Let's ask our friend ChatGPT. So let's come here and let's open ChatGPT, and my question is convert a fetch response that looks like this into an array buffer. Let's see what happens. Certainly. Response of array buffer console. So what am I doing? Fetch your image. Response throw error. Then. Okay, so but this is then an error. Okay, so let's look at this request. So this is the request interface. Is it postget URL string? Yes. So maybe I need, but no, I get the data, so that's good. So this is a get URL string. Let's continue on. This returns a promise string. Okay, so I received the array buffer as an encoded string. How do I convert the string back to an array buffer? So this is how we do it. Let's copy this. And the other response was so let's come over here. So it says that I delete the constant because then I can only use the string once. So, and this is going to be my result. So what the heck is going on here? And what if I use fetch? So what if I simply use fetch? So result equals await fetch. Yeah, that's the issue, that I get a cross-origin error, so I need to use the response, but then, or the request, but then so this is and what does the help tell us? Back to here, so similar to fresh request. Text value of the response. That's the issue, that it returns the text value of the... Oh, but there's a request URL. We need the request URL. I think that's the issue. So let's try it like this. So let's see what happens if we type this, request URL, and I'm just going to pass in the URL. What happens with this? Yay, this is what we wanted, and there's the array buffer. So now I can write this, that app vault create binary like this, and I'm going to write test png result array buffer. I think that's all we need. File already exists, so we'll delete the file. And now again we create it, and bang, we have the file. Perfect. So I think we are now on our way to success. So what we're going to do here is, when I get the image URL, I'm going to first fetch the image like this. So this is going to be here. Array buffer, image array buffer equals await a request URL image URL, and then I think if not image array buffer or image array buffer dot status doesn't equal 200, so 200 means it was successful, then we have a problem. Otherwise, I'm going to create my file. We can ditch this whole copy from Excalidraw project like that. So I'm going to use this as my file name. So I'm going to bring this, I'm going to just create a variable called file name like that. And what I'm going to do is up here, I'm going to create my file name. So const file name equals this. And the folder, I'm also going to take the folder name, like that. I'm going to come up here and right here, const folder name equals like that. So I have my folder name, and what I want to do is, and we should do some error handling, but now I'm going to, well, maybe we will do that. So here I'm going to EA unique, get new unique file path. So I'm going to submit the file name as a string and the folder path, and I get back, and I think I need to, so what was it again? It's the file name and the folder path. So file name plus PNG, folder path, like that. Those are the variables: file name, folder name. It's called folder name. So this is image file path equals. So this is an Excalidraw automate utility function that creates a new file path under a folder. I think I need to await this, even though help doesn't say that, because this also checks if the folder is created and creates the folder if it's if the folder is not there. So image array buffer image file path, and then all we need to do is to create the image file. So app vault create binary, and I'm going to use my image file path and my array buffer. And I wonder if this actually returns it returns a file object. So this is going to be my image file equals, and I need to await this as well because this is an asynchronous function. So here I'm getting the URL from Dolly. Once I have my URL, I download that URL. So I'm just cleaning up some of the empty lines because I don't need those. Once I have my image URL, I use a request URL to grab the image array buffer, which is not yet good because this is just the image result, like that, and this is then image result, and the image array buffer is going to be the image result dot, and we use the array buffer property, like that. Yes, so I get my image result, and then I get the path, I get the image file. That's great. And then here I create my image element, but here I'm passing the image file. And otherwise, I think we are good. I think we are at the point when we are ready. Keep fingers crossed. And let's press this and see if there's an error. In the meantime, let's just see our code once again. This is when I typically spot trivial problems that I didn't correct earlier, but hopefully, wow, we are almost good. So here, let's just check. So you can see adopt new habits yourself, PNG, and new habits Excalidraw. So the file was created. The only issue is that the position of the text element and the image is not correct. So we are actually almost completely in business. I'm so excited. This is cool. So let's look at this. First of all, in terms of text wrapping, this can be 80 characters long. That's good. And the issue is, this is created at 0, 0. Maybe actually add image has some parameters that we should use. So I think EA help, EA add image. So it says, oh, there's the, so it says that set scale to false if you want the embedded image at 100% of its original size. Default is true, which will insert a scaled image. So I need to set scaled, I need to set scale to false. So let's just delete this from here, close this. And so we'll come here and let's just clean this up. So this thing with the setting the image size, etc. is unnecessary. I don't need to get the image element. That's also unnecessary. So instead, all I need to do is I need to add the image file to top 00. But then I want to set scale to false, and I then want to set anchor to false as well, otherwise it's fixed to 100%. And then the issue is, why does the text element end up, so maybe this is what we're going to do. So I'm going to, after a const image ID, so we're doing this back, we can close this. Then I'm going to add const image element equals EA get element image ID. And here what I'm going to do is I'm going to write image element Y plus image element height plus 30. That's what we are going to do. I think this is going to be the right right approach. Okay, so I think this is good because now I'm positioning this based on the image. Now the only thing that we might want to do after this is I have my rectangle element, so I'm going to reposition the rectangle in a way that I'm going to set the rectangle element X to be image element width minus a rectangle element width over 2. So I want the rectangle to be in the center. And I think this is going to achieve that. So let's give this a try. Oh, damn it. Again, I was updating the, so delete. So now all my edits are gone. What the heck is going on here? No, it's not gone, good. So, but then why didn't it execute? Oh, because I already had a daily, I don't know, delete. So again, let's, oh, because I stopped it because I'm silly. Because what happened was it did send a request to OpenAI, but I aborted it. So let's see what's going to happen now, because yeah, so this is a bit of an issue with the script, that it takes so long that you're going to be tempted. Yeah, there you go. But now everything is perfect. So there you go. So I have a daily notes template that, okay, it's not updated because it inserted the image with the text not in the center, but I think we will take a look at how to fix that. But overall, I think this is super cool. yeah, I mean, I think this is absolutely, absolutely fantastic. I have a quote from the storyquotes.com that automatically generates an image with Dolly and then inserts that image as part of my daily note template. The only problem that we are facing is that this process takes a long time, and in that long time, I think as a user you're tempted to modify the inserted template. So anyway, this is for your own use. I think as for the video, this is a good result, and this is where I think I'm going to stop. I don't quite understand why the text was not in the center. That's an interesting one, but I'm not so concerned because the image is opened on the right hand side, so you can always, once you save it, the image is going to update in the daily note, so I'm not going to bother with that either. I think I know what the issue is. So what we need to do is I need to separately move the text element as well, because here, you know, a sticky note is a rectangle with a bound text element, and what I'm doing here is I'm only moving the rectangle element. So I think we need to actually generate a text element ID. So here I'm going to text ID equals EA generate element ID. So now I have a text ID, and when I do this, I'm going to submit the text ID as well. So, you know, if I do this EA add text, and here you can see that I can add an ID for the text element. So I added my text ID. So I can also get my text element const text element equals EA get element text ID, and I'm actually going to do this text element dot x equals, and in this case I'm going to text plus equals, because and actually I can do plus equals here as well. The difference with plus equals is it takes the current value of text element, and I just want to shift it with the same amount. So I'm going to shift it with this value, and I think this is going to now fix that issue. So let's delete this. Let's delete this, and let's delete my PNG. Let's close this. Actually, I can close this as well, and let's do my daily notes page. We know that we need to wait. So that's maybe in the beginning I could put a notice up, but anyway, I'm doing this for myself, so I'm going to know that I need to wait about half a minute for this to complete, so I'm going to be patient. Now what I could do is at every step of the journey, maybe that's what we're going to do. We're going to, but here we go. And now it's perfect. So you see I have my daily note. The text is in the center. If you have assumed a character beyond your strength, you have both played a poor figure in that and neglected one that is within your powers. Yeah. This is going to be interesting. So these quotes, with the image. I think this is super interesting. And if now I look at the markdown view mode, just to show you, I have here the author and the quote, so that part also works. You remember the way I did that was here at the end I added the plain text component. And then to round all of this off, what we're going to do is this. Here I have console log, and instead of console log, I'm going to write new notice result JSON like this. But I don't need the JSON there, just this is not going to be good. I think what I'm going to do is image prompt ready, image prompt ready. Great. I'm going to leave that there. So this is always good for debugging. I think in generate image as well, I'm going to write here that I have and the error message is not good, but I'm going to write new notice, and we're going to just write this, and here otherwise I'm going to write new notice, and we're going to say that image is ready, and I'm going to put the URL here. So I'm informed that the image is ready, and then I think I'm just going to write here that image new notice image file saved like this. Okay, so final test. Now we are going to get some proper messages as well as we run this. So check here, that's where we're going to see our messages. Oh no, okay, so this was fast, but this was fast because I have my daily notes folder here. Okay, so final test. Maybe I should have but now I see that the image prompt is ready and it's gone. So I at least get some feedback. And after a little time, I get that the image is ready. That's great. Image is saved and I get the image. I think this is cool. Now, what's also clear but I think this is what you can, so I'm going to place all of this on GitHub as a gist, and you can download. I'm actually going to zip this vault and place it on GitHub so you can actually get the entire vault and play with it yourself. So I think this is where we need to be more strict about being text free. Maybe we can be significantly more explicit in our message that don't include any text on the image, because now we have that text there, which, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it's not beautiful. So that's all I had for you today. I know this was long, probably slightly convoluted. I'm going to now do a bit of cutting that this becomes more digestible, but I'm actually going to post this mostly raw. And let me know what you think. Is this helpful? Are you enjoying this type of content? I certainly enjoyed creating this automation, and what would you like to see? I'm happy to create similar projects, going through the process of creating something and recording it. Let me know what you would like to see, and then maybe I can do that. Thank you.